can't believe you two took that raving lunatic seriously. What do you think this is?
Hi everyone, for lack of knowledge. And today I'm going to be talking about some of the unexpected things that are lurking around in our beloved video games. I'm a fan of video games myself. I grew up playing games with my friends, and I remember some good times that we had playing these. And even as an adult, like many other people, every now and then I will fire up the game system to relax and play a game or two. Now, there are some games that have openly Illuminati and Luciferian themes in them and symbolisms. But these games, it could be expected to have that. Certain games like Dungeons and Dragons. I remember an old franchise called Dante's Inferno, where you're making your way down through the levels of hell and all of this stuff. It's bad enough that stuff is in these, but you can kind of expect to see it. In other words, you know what you're getting into. But for this video, I'm going to be focusing on Call of Duty, which is a game that has nothing to do with spirituality at all. It's a military-based game, strategy game, and action game, and it has nothing to do with the Illuminati, Christianity, heaven, hell, anything like that. So why is there blatant ties to Illuminati symbolisms and themes and Luciferian representations in this franchise? Now, some of this stuff may have floated under the radar, but several years back, I actually noticed something that drew my attention to this franchise and how the enemy could use it to wiggle his way into our households. Now, before I get started, let me show you this clip, and this will help set up where this video is going.
Was the first man ever to strike down another. And when the Lord came to him and said, "What have you done?" Cain could not hide his crime, for the voice of his brother's blood cried out from the very ground.
Okay, now as you can see, that's a very interesting route to take for the trailer for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. They were running the biblical theme of Cain killing Abel and addressing some of that good stuff. So that's just noteworthy. Very interesting that they would take that spiritual route with this game. Now, this was, like I said, the trailer for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. That's significant because Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is really the game that pushed the franchise out to the public. It really blew up because they promoted it heavily, and everyone knew about Call of Duty when this edition was released. Now, there are many people that were fans of the franchise before, but then there are those that went back and got some of the previous games after Modern Warfare 2. So it really got put on the map with this one. And that's also significant because there is a small company that first got their role in helping develop the game with Modern Warfare 2, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Now, everyone knows that video games are owned by one parent company. In this case, it's Activision. And Activision now is actually a merged company with Blizzard. So Activision Blizzard is now the merged company. But people call it Activision. Activision owns the rights to Call of Duty. So we know that. If you do me a favor right now, if you know anyone that has the game, that's nearby, which you most likely do, or if you own it yourself, which is a very likely thing as well, go grab it and look at the back of it. Because some years ago, I was looking at it, just glancing it over, and I said, let me look and see what are some of the other companies that played a role in the development of the game. Because on the back of every case, near the bottom, there's going to be several company names and logos kind of giving credits to, several companies, up to maybe a dozen at times, that played a role in the making of a game. So I did this on this Call of Duty game, but I got to one logo and company name that was so small that I couldn't make it out. And it was interesting to me because I was like, wow, why is it so small like that? So I see why they did that. They're trying to be manipulative and trying to hide it. But I looked very closely and I saw that this company's name was Demonware. And not only was their name Demonware, their logo was a stylized or futuristic looking Baphomet goat head. So, they might have tried to hide it to make it look, oh, it's just trying to make it look cool and, it's very stylized and futuristic looking. No matter what way you cut it, it's a Baphomet goat head and the name of your company is Demonware. So why is this significant? Because they played a major role in making the multiplayer aspects of not only Call of Duty, but multiple other games that are popular that you know of. Destiny is one, Guitar Hero is another, Skylanders is another. And I'm not even going to go into the companies, the franchises that Blizzard owned before it was a merged company with Activision. World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo. We've heard these names before, and Blizzard was very deep into these esoteric type of games in the first place. Because with World of Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo, which we all know means devil, of all things, they were pandering to the crowd that would like these type of games, or the people that don't know any better and are just letting themselves sit and be inundated with these imagery and these themes and no telling what else coming from their screens into their minds, their eyes, their ears. So Demonware, they handle every single part of the multiplayer matchmaking, leaderboards, microtransactions, data pipeline, and identity management. All of those aspects, they design and control. And they provide at least about 100 different services that touch every aspect of gameplay within these worldwide franchises. So they actually design the multiplayer parts of the game. Why is that significant? Because I don't know about you, but 90% of the people I know, when you get a Call of Duty game, you don't even play the campaign mode. There's no single player mode. Single player mode, what's that? No. They pop that thing in, and as soon as it loads, they go to the multiplayer parts of the game. So you're skipping even the campaign mode that was designed by someone else. You're going right to the parts of the game, the boards and things of that nature that were designed specifically and exclusively almost by Demonware. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that was displayed in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. This is just a taste of it. Now, why in the world would anybody incorporate these hidden themes and hidden symbolisms in their non-spiritual military video game? They're hiding it in plain sight. This is the same stuff we see all throughout Hollywood. This is very significant. The devil has just found another way to make it into our homes. Of course, he's used magazine, he's used television, radio, movies, every form of media, every outlet that he can get into our lives, he has used. And so, of course, it's a natural progression that he will use video games to now get into our lives. This is amazing. It's just a new popular form of media that he's going to jump right into your household and influence you and just inundate you with this imagery and things that represent him and give honor to him. Another thing about software that's very, very scary, I'd say, is that software is different than television, movies. Software is adaptive. They can be running script in the background that you cannot see or you're not readily conscious and aware of. You're listening to the background sounds, the little background music. You're looking at the imagery that is displayed on your screen. But there could be a script running that has a demon sitting in the background of it's been overlaid with the imagery you see. And there's just a demon sitting there looking at you or doing some type of incantation or spell. I know this may seem far-fetched, but those of us that are awake and aware know that the enemy spares no punches. That is not something that is far-fetched. We are at war. We are at spiritual war. Our battle is not against flesh and blood. OK, and so when you're at war, people tend not to hold back, especially when you know you're going to lose or you're losing, which the enemy and his demons know they're going to lose. What happened in Vietnam? What happens in other places? Now we're battling supposed terrorism. You know, when an enemy feels like they're outgunned or outmatched, they resort to any type of guerrilla tactics. They don't pass up any opportunity. So this stuff is real. This is something we should always consider and be aware of. All right. Now, Demonware is a small company of about 180 employees that's based in Dublin, Ireland. And it was founded in 2003 by a man called Dylan Collins. And he had a co-founder that didn't play as big of a role, but his name is Sean Blanchfield. And because it was so successful at managing these increasingly more and more popular multiplayer aspects of Call of Duty and other games, the company was actually acquired by Activision in May 2007, because Activision said, hey, they're doing such a good job at it, we might as well bring them in-house. So, you know, I looked up some stuff on Dylan Collins, and it's hard to find anything on him now. It seems as if it's been cleaned up a bit online. But I do remember several years ago trying to look him up and, you know, find out, you know, what religion is he and this and that and things of that nature. And I couldn't get a concrete answer. From what I could gather, he has not openly said he was a Christian. And I believe I came to the conclusion he was an atheist by some comments he had made. But irregardless, why would anyone, atheist or definitely not Christian, name their company Demonware, which is pledging your allegiance right there, and have your logo be a Baphomet-styled goat head? We know what entertainers, powerful people in the world do when they show their little hand gestures, when they do different themes in their music and what they promote and what they do. Every single one of them has some role to promote some part of the New World Order for this Luciferian world that they want to have. So he's shown his allegiance with that. Now, Dylan, Mr. Collins, he has subsequently founded several tech companies and is currently the CEO of a company called Super Awesome, which is a company that specializes in online marketing to kids. Okay, now this is significant because he has already proven what he is capable of and what he is willing to do in games and in using software and using the technology world to influence others subliminally and openly. Adults or teenagers, which is what Call of Duty and some of these games are marketed to. But now he's moved into marketing to little kids. So we've all heard stories and seen evidences of things in Disney and some other supposedly child-friendly things, them networks like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network that have, you know, shows like Gravity Falls and stuff, which is just pure occultism and masonry and other Illuminati stuff marketed to little kids. So He's just another individual that is getting his hand deeper and deeper into our homes and into our families, and he's targeting our kids now. Okay, and the last point I just want to make really quickly. This is the last coincidence, which I don't believe in coincidences, so I'm being sarcastic. But this is the last coincidence I want to bring up about Demonware. Demonware uses an open source code that is named Apache Cassandra to develop its large data management systems for the multiplayer aspects of these games. And it's just no surprise or coincidence that Cassandra's logo happens to use the one-eye symbolism with a sun inside of it as well. All right, and you know, the sun and Saturn are interchangeable, and they represent the oldest form of false god, which is the sun god. Ra is what he's been called. I mean, many different names. These are all references to Satan. All right. So this is very, very, very coincidental, and it's just very interesting to take note of that. These are not just things that are falling into place out of the cosmos to align to seem as if this stuff is Illuminati or this stuff is Luciferian. It is. If we wake up and open our eyes, we realize the war that's going on around us. I do want to make a quick jab also at Alienware, because this once again is running along with the theme of the enemy making a concerted push into gaming in our households. Alienware is a company that develops computer hardware to run PC games on. And so they've been big at that for a while. I took note of Alienware when they first came out and just shook my head also, because those of us that are awake understand this alien deception thing that's going on. And I actually made a video on aliens in the Bible. You can reference that later if you want to have a more detailed explanation on that. But if you don't already know, aliens are a very thinly veiled excuse for demons. Okay, the father of modern occultism, Aleister Crowley, actually is quoted as saying that, you know, they called them their spirit masters, their ascended masters, their guides, their enlightened entities, or whatever the different names they have. But they said the world will call them by a different name in the future. And so he foreknew that we would be calling them aliens. OK, there are no aliens. And there are individuals in high places and other places that realize that. All right. Aliens are just the secular word for intelligent beings that are not human. God and the Bible has addressed this. He has made intelligent beings that are not human. These are just called angels. The angels of God only send messages from him. They come with booming voices. They come giving a message from God. They're very powerful. They're very beautiful. And anything that is intelligent, that is not human, that is sneaking around or doing whatever it is, and all the underhanded things promoting Far Eastern philosophies and stuff that these aliens are supposedly doing, those are not aliens. OK, and so it's just, once again, another coincidence that we have this Alienware that's really, really big. They're a leader in the gaming hardware industry. So we see where the enemy's push is at. OK, watch the games that we get. It's just like sitting down in front of a TV show that's occultic or a movie that's occultic. You know, we cover stuff like that all the time. We have to pay attention to these games. All right, guys, take care and do not be destroyed for lack of knowledge.